stop running away and start already.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are y'all doing, guys? Welcome. I got my co-host with me again. Hello, Oakley. Yeah, we're still pet sitting. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Welcome to Thanksgiving week. It's a little bit like Jasmine. We don't have Thanksgiving anymore. We don't have just a birthday. It's Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving month. It's Thanksgiving year, I guess. Welcome to all of y'all. Let me start off with a big old SKD 143. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Yes, I know I'm doing my show now. I hope y'all are doing well. Love my wife. Love my kids. Love all the reality TV fans out there. Especially love you guys that come out here with me every Monday evening. Thanks to each and every one of you watching live, watching on replay, either one. I'll start off with just a very pleasant reminder that if you are already signed up for my channel, please consider doing so. And while you're at it, you can turn on notifications so that you find out every time I do one of these Cliff Notes Live, which is always Monday night. But when I do these, or when I do drop my Survivor, drop my challenge recaps, and we'll talk about that a little bit tonight as well. You'll get notification as soon as I do it. And while you're out there, you can hit the thumbs up as well. I always appreciate that. So with that being said, welcome to all of y'all. And it has been cold down here and wet. I'm dog sitting Oakley this whole past week. I swear it's rained every single day, which means I'm out in the backyard. I'm out walking the dog in the middle of the rain and everything else. And it's, for Texas, it's cold down here. Now, I know some of y'all further up north, y'all are laughing at me because our cold doesn't compare at all to what y'all's have. But hey, give me a little slack. It doesn't get that cold down here most of the time, every once in a while. But anyway, yeah, it's been a fun week. Let me see who all's out here before we start talking a few different questions and everything else. Ma's first one out here. Ma, howdy, howdy, howdy. Ma says, nice thumbnail. Yeah, I had fun doing my little thumbnail this evening. It's all about Thanksgiving. If y'all haven't seen it on Instagram or the YouTube reminder, you'll see it out there. Brian Hosteller. Brian, how are you doing, sir? Jake, the horror movie geek. Jake, howdy, howdy, howdy. Mark Taylor as well. Cindy Heyer. Keith Franken. And Amanda Lowe. And Chaz as well. Thanks to all of y'all. All right. Ma saying nice audio quality. Thank you. I had some issues earlier, and I switched microphones, so I guess that's worked out a little bit better. Slowly but surely, I'm figuring all this stuff out. Yeah, you would think after 103 episodes, I'd be an old pro at it. I'm getting there. Yeah, I know so much more than when I first got out of the house. Who would have thought when I got out of the Big Brother house, I'd be doing a show like this? All right. Before we talk about, I'm open for everything. I figured we got Thanksgiving coming up, so we'll talk about that a little bit. Hence the background and my little thumbnail from earlier and all that. But there's a lot going on, so we'll talk about all of that. So y'all just throw the questions out here. Cindy's saying 22 degrees this morning when she took her dog out this morning for a walk. All right, I don't feel like I have much room to complain then. That's pretty cold. Mark is saying 20 degrees in Michigan as well. Keith's saying snow day. Yeah, I know. That was such a wimp down here. It was 40 degrees, but it was wet. Yeah, we're just not used to it. It's hard. I've worked up in Dead Horse, Alaska. When the name of the town is Dead Horse, that is never a good sign. Dead Horse, Alaska, right up on inside the Arctic Circle, the northern slope of Alaska. That is so close I could see the lights of Santa's North Pole facility from where I was working. And that was cold weather. We did work 24 hours a day out there. I'd go out and do like a 24-hour shift. And it was in December, January when I was there. So I would wake up in the morning, call the airport. And I don't know who I did because it was always the same horribly miserable report of it is minus 45 degrees this morning. And the winds are blowing at 30 miles an hour. And that's not without wind chill or anything. That's just regular old temps. It's like, oh, God, I got to do it again. It was dark 23 and a half hours out of every day. Go out there, drink a lot of coffee to stay awake while I'm sitting in a truck at one of these oil rigs. But then that means every once in a while you got to get out of the truck and make a little pit stop. Not fun when it's 45 degrees below zero. Yeah, I remember that well. That's probably why I don't like cold temperatures anymore after that. All right, let's talk about a few things. As I said, I'll answer as many questions as I can from y'all this evening. I had a few things I was going to mention as we get into it. One thing, did y'all know that this day in history, there's a few things. One, we'll start off with a light-hearted, a light little thing. Did y'all know in this day, in 1783, in Paris, France, the first manned untethered balloon ride took place. Someone did a hot air balloon, and I guess they'd always gone up with a rope attached so they wouldn't float away. Who's the courageous person that said, cut that rope. I'll float. I'll land somewhere, right? They thought the world was flat back then. I don't know if they thought it back then at that point, but kind of scary. Not you always picture the kid holding the balloons and he just floats up forever. I'd be worried about that if I'm sitting there in a hot air balloon and wondering just how high up will I go if it's not holding on to rope. There was some brave soul in 1783 who was the first one to ride an untethered hot air balloon. So don't know what your name is, but sir, I applaud your bravery in doing that. On a more somber note, this actually on this day in 1963, right? John F. Kennedy was killed, assassinated in Dallas, Texas, and a little before my time, just a little bit, a few years. But having grown up just outside Dallas, so many days spent there where it happened at the school book depository where Lee Harvey Oswald hung out. Supposedly, talk to Kat, she'll tell you there's a whole different conspiracy. But now I've seen Dealey Plaza where it happened so many times and stood there where all the different stuff was. It's funny, back then, one guy, a guy named Zapruder, who had a movie camera, an old black and white movie, is the only evidence they have of the actual shooting and the assassination itself. If something like that happened nowadays, what do you think? 500 different cell phone cameras would be recording it in every single angle that you could possibly imagine. Within 5 minutes of it happening, half of them would be posted on TikTok and YouTube and everything else. There's no lack of video anywhere at this point in time, right? I was on Big Brother, but I was just testing it out for the rest of y'all because I feel like we don't have one Big Brother. We got 20 million little Big Brothers that are always going around the camera. So yeah, a different world back then when that happened as opposed to today. But yeah, it's the anniversary. Again, it's a little before my time, but I've heard stories from my parents about just the shock of when it happened. The other thing I can compare it to is when the Challenger shuttle blew up or the 9/11 with the World Trade Centers and the Pentagon. That kind of shock feeling, just, oh my gosh, that's probably the closest that we've got to what happened back then. So anyway, throw that there. We'll move on to something else because I don't want to talk about that all hour long. Also, today is National Gingerbread Cookie Day. I love me some gingerbread cookies. Isn't that one? That's one of those things of all the different Thanksgiving, Christmas treats, and everything else. I really feel like the only time I have gingerbread is during the holiday season. I don't know why. I mean, you can fix them any time of the year, but it just doesn't feel right when it's not cold and Christmas music and everything playing. I'm not sure whether gingerbread cookies now as opposed to, I don't know, a little closer to Christmas. Although we're getting pretty close, right? But yeah, I can think of the scent as soon as I mention that. So happy National Gingerbread Cookie Day to all of y'all. If you got gingerbread around, go get you a nice. Do you bite the heads off or do you bite the legs and the arms off first when you got that old gingerbread man? I don't know. We ought to do a study one of these days. All right, Mark Taylor's saying, all right, let's talk about a little more substance stuff as well. Not that I don't love the cookies, but yeah, Mark's asking about the Survivor, saying, what do you think? I mean, Survivor, the challenge. What do you think of the game of Faisal? Does he miss Kim? Well, Mark, he may have missed Kim, who left 2 weeks ago. He may have missed Kim until he found Laurel, who seemed to be his new person of attention, right? They showed last week Faisal seeming to get pretty friendly with Laurel. Now, when you got sheets pulled over you, who's to say? It's probably just a little cuddling and all that. I won't say differently, but they certainly seem to be enjoying each other's company a little bit. Now, I'm a little bit worried about Faisal. Is he cursed? Is he a curse that if the female contestants hang out with Faisal, it's just a matter of time that you go home right after that? Because we did see Colleen go home while she was flirting with Faisal. We saw Laurel not doing too well as well. So I don't know. I'm a see Faisal. I don't know if he's doing Hearts Reality or not, but I see him have to give him a hard time saying, yeah, you're danger in a whole lot of different ways. But I think he's playing a pretty good game. That guy is so athletic, right? He's such a beast when it comes to some of these competitions. but you just haven't heard his name mentioned too much so far, right? I mean, I feel like maybe he's done the game enough times. There's enough Big Brother folks in there that he's developed some alliances that may keep him alive long enough. Because you would think, in terms of male targets, he'd be right up there, one of the first ones getting gone after, right? That sound right, but y'all know what I mean. He's really done pretty well flying under the radar. Now, Vessel's big issue is the fact that no matter how well he does, when it gets to the very end, if he's still there, they better have an eating challenge, because he's so bad at eating challenges. That's his Achilles heel. And I don't want anyone winning any share of $1 million unless they're willing to do whatever it is that they hate the most. And in his case, it's eating the pig intestines or the cow heart or whatever they have every single season. Last year, it was one big old giant onion, which at the time I thought, well, I'd rather do that than eat a pig snout or something. But watching everyone eat those onions, I'm not sure that necessarily was a whole lot better. It was pretty bad. So, yeah, I think all in all, he's playing a decent game, but certainly he's having fun while he's in that house as well with some of the ladies also. All right, Chaz is saying, can you tell us a couple of Thanksgiving stories? Yeah, I guess that's an appropriate time for some Thanksgiving stories, right? All right. I got a couple of them for you. One, let's talk. We've talked before in here about my family's tradition is macaroni and cheese, right? Love me some macaroni and cheese. That's a given that we always have that at any Thanksgiving, Christmas meal. We also have stuffing. And it seems like every family does their stuffing a little bit differently, whether cornbread stuffing, mashed potato stuffing, I don't know. But lots of different stuffings out there that people do and everything else. As a kid, I didn't like it. Man, it's horrible. I have no desire. Give me the turkey itself. I don't want the stuffing. But as I got older, I started liking it. And now I really look forward to the stuffing that my mom makes, that Sharon, my wife, makes. I know what I like when it comes to stuffing. And as I've discovered, I kind of know what I don't like as well, because I got a little story for you. When I first started dating Sharon, and I'd met her family once or twice, the ones that lived in the Houston area. So I'd met some of her family, and they knew we were getting serious. Serious enough that for Thanksgiving, I don't think we were married yet. For the first Thanksgiving after we were dating, Sharon took me up to visit her extended family, who lived up in Arkansas. And we stayed at her granny's house, and her granny hosted Thanksgiving dinner for everyone, for the extended family, all kinds of kinfolk and everything up there. And we sat down at the dinner table for our Thanksgiving feast. Turkey was good. I don't remember if they had macaroni and cheese. I probably snuck in a little bit over. Yeah. They probably had a pocket full with a little bag of Ziploc bag or something. There was a lot of food going around. I probably didn't need it. But all the food that you would expect, including stuffing, which got me kind of excited. So I got my turkey. I got my stuffing. Turkey was fantastic. Stuffing, maybe not so much. It had a little very distinct taste and odor to it. I think maybe one of the ingredients that she had used wasn't quite as fresh as it needed to be, right? And not my favorite tasting experience in the world. Hey, get Faisal. Let's see if he can handle that, and we'd see if he really can overcome that, because it was not my most favorite stuffing ever. But being polite and sitting right next to my wife's grandmother, I told her how great it was. I ate everything. I cleaned my plate. And as soon as I do that, she then says, "Oh, Cliff, here's some more." And she puts more stuffing on my plate, which is not what I wanted, but what are you going to do? So I finish up the second plate as much as I can, and quickly excuse myself before I get a third helping put on my plate. I go and clean my plate off in the kitchen, just like you do when you're polite and being nice and everything else. And I get in there, and I discover that every other person in my wife's family had the same opinion about this stuffing, and had actually taken the stuffing and very quietly hid it somewhere else on their plate, inside a roll, underneath a baked potato. I'm not sure where they'll hid it. So I go into the kitchen and clean the plate off, and the trash can, I look in there, filled with stuffing. Everyone else's plates, they'd quietly gone over and thrown away their stuffing. except for me. And then I come to find out that they had spent the last 30 minutes when they all realized how bad this was. They'd spent the last 30 minutes watching me and laughing the whole time, every time I took a bite of this stuffing, and watched as I just got a little greener and greener around the gills and tried to smile. And once I realized that, then I discovered why they were going on and on about, oh, are you enjoying it, Cliff? This is fantastic food, isn't it? Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. So for my entire married life, what are we going on, 32 years, I still hear the stories about, hey, Cliff, do you want some stuffing? So, yeah, her granny made fantastic food. It was just this one time that, and we never told her. No one, I certainly didn't tell her. No one else ever did. But yeah, I was the butt of the joke on that particular experience. But it doesn't matter. I still love me some stuffing most of the time. All right, I got one more story for y'all, then we'll move on to something else. I've got a brother. I'm an engineer. I'm an oil field guy, petroleum engineer, and all that. That's what I like doing in life. My brother Robert, now Robert's the one I lost to a drunk driver, unfortunately, a while back. But Robert was a year and a half younger than I was. He went to Texas A&M, and he was into agriculture. He was big into the farm and ranch. He raised cows and goats and sheep in our backyard and rabbits. He had all kinds of stuff that he always raised. Well, after he got out of school, he went to work at a turkey farm. I think that was in Arkansas as well. Went to work at a turkey farm. And here's one thing. I didn't realize this until he went to work there. He felt miserable for the first couple of weeks. He said, I think I picked up a cold or something. And all the people at this turkey plant said, oh, don't worry about it. You've just got turkey flu. He said, what? They said, oh, yeah, these turkeys have all these viruses and everything. And some of them people can get from the turkeys. They said, you're just getting all these turkey viruses. Your body will build up resistance. Just give it a couple of weeks. You'll be fine. I'm not sure I ever want to build up resistance to turkey flu or turkey colds or anything else. But what are you going to do? So he built up resistance, enjoyed working there, had been there about 6 months or so when Thanksgiving came along. And so the bosses brought Robert in and said, hey, Robert, one of the perks of working here is that you get a free turkey for Thanksgiving. They said, oh, yeah, really? They said, yeah, it's going to be the freshest turkey ever because we want you to go in the back, pick out any turkey you want, and we will butcher it, pluck it, prepare it. You can take it home at the end of the day and have the freshest turkey you've ever had for Thanksgiving. Well, he thought that was fantastic. And so he called my mom on the phone and said, Mom, don't buy a turkey. I'm bringing one home for Thanksgiving. I got the turkey covered. And she said, oh, that's fantastic, Robert. Wow, that's great. Okay, no problem. I'm not going to buy a turkey then. So he went out in the back, started looking at all these turkeys, and he said, well, you know what? If I get it for free, I'm going to get as much as I can. So he picked out the biggest turkey he could possibly find in the whole facility. It was like a granddaddy turkey or something. Picked that one out, and they said, all right, we'll have it ready for you by the end of the day. So he gets his turkey. He brings it back home, says, Mom, I've got the turkey for you. He's so proud. He has to carry it in with both his arms because it's such a big turkey. Well, it turns out it was such a big turkey, it wouldn't fit in the oven. Yeah, it was 40 or 50-pound turkey. I mean, this was a monster. It's going to feed the whole block. Would not even fit into the oven. It was so large. So as soon as my mom saw it, she said, yeah, we may be in trouble here. It turns out, and unfortunately it wasn't frozen because it was brand new fresh turkey. She had to actually slice up the turkey before she cooked it, slice everything up, and then just put turkey cutlets in the oven. And so that year we didn't have a big roast turkey with the wishbones and all that. We had a lot of turkey that was sliced and cut and then cooked afterwards. Still good. I guess it's still the freshest I've ever had, but it just goes to show sometimes the bigger isn't always the better, because it wouldn't fit in the oven, and he never thought of it. I didn't think about it until I walked in. I saw my mom trying to take the tray and put it on the very lowest level, and still watch this thing miss it by this much at the top of the oven. So yeah, there's such a thing as a little too much turkey, I suppose. Speaking of, I spent the last couple of days watching people frying turkeys. I don't know if all of y'all do it, but we always bake our turkey. But certainly there's some people that drop them in hot oil, boiling oil, and they fry their turkeys up. If you're going to do that, make sure your turkey isn't cold or anything else, because I've seen too many scary videos of people dropping these things in the frying oil and just going up in flames, people getting burned, burning down curtains and everything else. If you or your family members are frying a turkey, be super, super careful because I don't want to lose any of y'all. It scared me to death after watching that. I don't like burning oil. Sounds like some kind of medieval torture. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with Thanksgiving. So, my little PSA for the evening to all of y'all. All right, what else do we have on here? Let me see this. Cindy Hire saying, what is your favorite food at Thanksgiving? Well, I've mentioned macaroni and cheese, right? But beyond that, I don't know. I kind of like the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on top of it. It's about the only time I eat sweet potatoes, but I love that. Mark saying, what's your favorite side dish? Yeah, maybe the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows. We have special rolls. What are they, Hawaiian rolls or that we eat? Big old fluffy yeast rolls. I always love those. Some of the I don't. And y'all tell me if this takes place anywhere except maybe for the Southwest. We get a lot of tamales down here. I went into our local grocery store. They're selling more tamales than they are turkeys down here. And I've got a nephew who sold tamales as a fundraiser for a sports team. So we always have a lot of tamales. Sharon makes a fantastic enchilada casserole. So there's some other things that aren't really your standard Thanksgiving fare that I always enjoy as well. Here's the other thing. I love the desserts. Imagine that. Imagine Cliff Hogg enjoying the desserts. But it seems like pecan pie is one of the things that it's not that you eat it just at Thanksgiving. It just seems like at Thanksgiving is where there's always some pecan pie. So I've got a little bit of that lined up. I'll be having some pecan pie this Thanksgiving. It's pretty good as well. You may get a shorter answer if you ask me what do you not like during Thanksgiving. If that's the case, I'm not big into those cranberry things, especially when it just comes in a can and you plop it out and it's just a circular looking. Not a big cranberry fan, whether raw, fresh, whatever, preserved. I'll do without that. Everything else, man, I'm game. And as much as I like turkey, it's a big old thick piece of honey baked, sugar coated ham as well. I'll do all right. I don't have a lot of complaints. Even the worst stuffing, still pretty happy on most Thanksgivings. So there you go. All right, what else do we have on here? Chaz is saying, were you happy with the two people who went home in Survivor? I love Cassidy. I was worried for her. So happy with the outcome. And then Moss said the people who went home were predictable. Yeah, and because y'all didn't spoil it, I'm going to try not to spoil it either by throwing out specific names. But was I happy? Yeah, I was okay. There's some people every season who just seem to get a little too cocky and feel like they're running the game just a little too much. And I think that's what happened. And without giving too much away, we had two people who went home last week, right? We got the tribe split up into two different groups. So when there's only 10 people and two people go home, that's 20% of the Survivor tribe who goes home in a single evening. That's pretty brutal. That's really rough. I'm not surprised that either one went home because I feel like it made sense that both of them could have targets on their back because they seemed pretty threatening in their capabilities. And I'm okay with it. I mean, it's not that I dislike either one of them, but again, I kind of always cheer for the underdogs, and I'm not sure that they were necessarily. They sure didn't think they were the underdogs, right? I gotta say, I'm really loving Survivor this season. It's been a fun season to watch, and every episode so far, they've had Jeff Probst on there saying, "Hey, it's your turn. Try out for Survivor. If y'all have not already tried out, you ought to consider it." I'm thinking about sending a tape in myself. I figure I hope they know who I am. I'd hate to send in a tape or send a video. I guess you don't do tapes anymore. I'd hate to send in a video and have a bunch of the casting people or Survivor say, "Who's this goofball? He acts like we should know him or something." Maybe. Yeah, you never know. But yeah, it'd be kind of fun to be on there. Jeff's going to talk me into it at some point in time. But I have really enjoyed it. I've said before, I feel like a couple of seasons ago when Erica won, I thought that the hourglass twist was just too extreme, too severe, affected the game way too much. And I worry about that a little bit with some of the twists this season, just because there's so many idols and advantages out there. And I guess I'm a little more old school. I wish we didn't have so many advantages and it was a straight up hidden immunity idol and the idols maybe that you win at the competitions instead of so many knowledge is power and all these other deals that are out there. But having said that, They always want to keep it fresh. They always want to put new twists in the game, and they've done it so far. I've enjoyed it, and the fact that they don't have any food out there, I kind of like that too. Because a lot of you may not remember, or some of you watch it from the very beginning. They used to put a whole lot more focus on the lack of food. I mean, you would have people that you'd see their skin and bones after 39 days or so. And I don't feel like we see nearly as much of that in later seasons. I think maybe it was considered unhealthy or whatever. But now these last few seasons where all they get is coconuts and whatever fish they can catch and all that, suddenly food becomes a lot more valuable, which makes me kind of wish they could figure out a way to bring back the food challenges, the food auctions. Do you remember there for a while, they had to eat some disgusting stuff to win a challenge, or you would auction off either food. There was always some immunity advantages or something thrown in there as well. And I think those kind of got broke because everyone eventually said, yeah, forget the food. I'm just going to spend all my money to get that immunity challenge or anything else. I think there's ways they could fix it where people are hungry enough now, they may barter for food, or they may auction for food. And you can have things where it's not just immunity. Maybe you don't know what you're getting until you've bid for it. I wish they'd do something like that and make food a little bit more of a focus sometimes in the show itself. With Big Brother, I wish they'd do the same thing. I wish they'd bring back the luxury foods for everyone in the house. They'd bring a steak out or something while I was in Big Brother. You would have seen old Boss Hogg fighting in that backyard for all kinds of challenges if I knew I was getting a little extra food brought in every once in a while. So, yeah, I'm ready for that as well. All right, Andy W. saying, I love Survivor. I love Amazing Race. Me too. So, I know CBS is not the only network that does reality programming. You know, Fox, you've got Hell's Kitchen, which I watch, and ABC's got The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and the NBC had The Apprentice that my brother was on, and they've got their own shows. But there's just something about the CBS shows. The Amazing Race, Survivor, Big Brother, Tough as Nails, I loved as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of them on there. I watched Survivor day number 1. I had a VCR set up to record the very first episode of Survivor. So that shows just how long ago it was that I was ready for that. So I've watched that forever, and then The Amazing Race came on. Actually, of the 3 shows, those 2 and Big Brother's the one I went several years without watching just because we were raising kids, and Big Brother isn't always as family friendly as Survivor and Amazing Race, right? I mean, it's a little risque at times. So we dropped that for a while, and then I started watching again. But yeah, I love all the reality TV shows. I watch the oddball stuff too. If it's reality TV, I watch Ink Master. I know nothing about. Now I know all kinds of things about tattoos. I feel like I'm a tattoo expert. It's like that commercial. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. Well, I'm not a tattoo artist, but I've watched a lot of episodes, so I feel like I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I watch all the reality shows. If it's on, I'm watching it. All right, Ma saying Dream Final 3 would be Derek and Claire. I'm all for that. Luis and Michelle. Yeah, I'm fine with that. And Molly and Emily. Molly and Emily, I'm a little worried about them for a little while. They're fighting through. They're giving it everything they got, though. And this is for Amazing Race, for those of y'all who, yeah, I'm just making assumptions everyone knows those names, Ma. But yeah, I agree with all of those. As I've said before in here, there's no one really on Amazing Race this season that I dislike at this point in time. There were 1 or 2 at the very beginning that just didn't seem like they were as focused and as determined or cared as much about being there. But the people that are left, yeah, I love all of them. And of course, Derek and Claire, Big Brother family, be cheering for them and hoping they do well the whole time. And so far, so good. I love traveling. So the Amazing Race is just a perfect deal. Here's my deal. I've spent too much time working around the world where I would fly in, do meetings, and fly back out and not really get the chance to explore the local culture, whatever it was. And I feel sometimes that's the same way with the Amazing Race. They're in the most beautiful places in Spain and Italy and places like that. And sometimes they're running so fast, it'll be hard not to just look around and stop for a second and say, I'm going to grab a little espresso from this little coffee shop right here, and I'm going to just soak everything in. Well, you can't do that or you'll go home. But yeah, to see everything and have to be racing through so fast it's got to be frustrating at times. But so much fun. So much fun doing that kind of race itself. Pretty cool. All right, Chaz is saying, isn't there a Big Brother celebrity coming up? I don't think so. I don't think that they've announced it. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the announcement was ever made. And now we're into, well, we're almost into December. Now, could they do one starting in the January 1st of February? Yeah, sure. I think so. And I don't know, I'm not necessarily going to say that the last Celebrity Big Brother was my favorite. I think I liked the first two a little bit more than I did this third one. But having said that, I still like watching it just so I can see my house with some other people that are staying in there. Celebrity is so different from regular Big Brother because they're in there so fast, but they still get a taste of it. And to see people that are celebrities and do it, kind of cool. But yeah, as far as I know, they aren't doing. Yeah, and Ma's saying it's usually late January. I knew it's January, February, something like that. I I don't think I don't think they've announced it this season yet. So I'm kind of thinking you would think if they were going to do it, there'd be some press out there. Get ready here this spring or early late winter. I haven't heard anything on it. I know on Big Brother 19 when I 19 Big Brother 21 when I got out of the house, sitting there on stage. Julie Chen is sitting here right next to me. All these things I could ask her, I could talk to her about, uh, everything. And the one question I had for Julie is, "Hey Julie, are y'all doing a Celebrity Big Brother this winter?" And she said, "Yeah, no, I think we're going to hold off on it with the Olympics and everything else. So we'll probably not do it this year. We'll do it next year instead." I think it may be a similar situation this year. We don't have the Olympics going on. We've got World Cup. And I don't want to spoil anything because the United States played today. And so someone else may throw it out there, but it's not my fault. I'm not going to spoil it, but I've been having fun. I watched a soccer match yesterday between Qatar and Ecuador. I watched today. The United States played Wales. I love me some World Cup soccer. I don't always watch as much soccer the rest of the year, but every 4 years when World Cup comes along, I watch it all. It's been pretty good. Now, for a lot of reasons, I probably wish it was being played somewhere other than Qatar, but hey, it is what it is. Still going to cheer on my American team. In 4 years, the World Cup's coming right here to the United States. And I think I'm almost certain Houston will get one of the stadiums and play some games. I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch some of it. It's going to be so much fun. Of course, that's 4 years from now. Watch. 4 years from now, World Cup's going to be in the United States in the summer. And that's going to be the year that CBS calls me back and says, "Hey, Cliff, would you like to come back into the house for Big Brother?" What would that be? 12? We just finished 24, so 28 or whatever. And I'm going to, of course, I'm going to say yes. I'll say, sure. I'm 60. I'm 61. No problem. I'll come back in. But I'm going to spend every day in that house saying, "Hey, guys, just tell me the score of the U.S. for the World Cup games." And every day they're going to say, "Nah, Cliff, we can't do it." And I'm going to irritate the heck out of them because I'll keep on asking because I love me some World Cup. All right, Josh P is saying random, but I like Tribal Council better on Survivor than nominations on Big Brother. I'm not going to say anything bad about the show I was on, but I get where you're coming from. And here's what I like that's a little bit different about it. There's two things that certainly are different. For Big Brother, by the time you get to nomination night, there's only two people going home, right? Everyone else knows they're completely safe. So there's a lot of very relaxed people in there who know that they're safe and are just playing and having fun. And there's really only two people that are super concerned sitting there every night on Big Brother. And it irritated me so much because I was on the block a few times during my season. It drove me crazy that I'd be sitting there knowing that my life was on the line. And there's people next to me just gabbing away, just happy-go-lucky and laughing and telling jokes and not the least bit concerned that I'm under so much emotional worry because it could be my game heading out the door and all that. They didn't care. I actually mentioned it to one or two people and told them, said, "Hey, I know you're happy, but just trust me that I'm not feeling too good right now." But that's one difference because we've got that. And Survivor, theoretically, there's only one person that's safe, and that's whoever's wearing the immunity out, right? So there's a lot more people that even if they think they're safe, they still have to be a little bit nervous every single night. Jeff Probst occasionally says, "Who feels safe in here?" There's always a few people that raise their hands, and every time they do that, I feel like saying, y'all are the ones that need to go home. I don't want anyone feeling safe in this game or Big Brother or anything else. So that's one part. The other thing that I like about the way Survivor does Tribal Council is that they spend so much time talking about it. Yeah, Julie Chen does not sit there and spend 30 minutes or an hour asking us questions about our game and prodding and poking and figuring out what are we going to say, what are we going to try to keep private, what can you pull out from us. Jeff does all that. And I've always heard that we only see a little 5-minute or so section of tribal council that actually can last for a couple of hours. And I guess he asks everything and then they decide what to show and all of that. But how cool would it be if Julie Chen was sitting there and saying, "Hey Cliff, how safe do you feel that you aren't going to be blindsided, or what are you thinking about the fact that so and so put you up after you did?" She could ask so many questions that would create so much more paranoia or distrust, or just stir things up a little bit. And I feel like Jeff does pretty good at doing that. So yeah, I get where you're coming from. I love me some tribal council. I think it's a fantastic approach to that game. Brian saying, "Yeah, but you outlasted most of those people." Well, heck yeah, I did. Other than one or two, all those people who blindsided me, all those people who just discounted everything I did in that game, I got to wave goodbye as every single one of them, almost every single one of them walked out the door. So yeah, don't think. I mean, I spent a lot of time when I played Big Brother saying, it's just a game. At the end of the day, it's a game. The way you are as a person isn't reflected by how you play the game. And I absolutely believe that. But all those people who did me dirty, don't think that I didn't have a little secret smile on my face as they walked out the door. Here's what's funny. Have y'all ever seen a Big Brother? After someone walks out the door, we all go over there and we stare at the picture when it goes from color to black and white. And it's like, oh, geez, he's gone. She's gone. Oh, my gosh, I can't believe she's gone. And acting so sad or at least somber. And yeah, you think you're at a funeral, not just a game show. I did the same thing because you don't want to offend anyone that was friends with that person. But pretty much even the people that I was closer to when they went home, there was still a part of me that's going, oh, that's one more week that I'm alive in here. One more person who went home before me. That doesn't mean that I didn't really regret a few of them going home, and that I wish there was some other way I could have sent someone else out the door instead. But I know, especially towards the end there, like when Christy went home at the double eviction, I remember looking around thinking, oh my gosh, I want 5 people left. This is incredible. Especially Christy, knowing how much she plotted against me. So I just stare there at the picture and say, oh, I can't believe Christy's not going to be with us anymore. And inside I'm saying, hit the road, Jack. Head on out, and happy to see your backside as you head out the door. Not because I hated her, but just because we never really worked that well together, and I was that much closer to the end game. So yeah, there's a lot of times where I had to look completely different from what I was feeling inside when I played that game. Because like in that situation, I didn't want to smile and applaud and laugh too much because Tommy's right there. And I already knew he was going to come after me if he had a chance. So yeah, I remember every week. It was such a countdown. Week in, week out, one more person down. One week closer to the end of it. And I remember at some point you're saying, oh, God, we're on day 40. We're on day 41. And suddenly around day 70 or so, I stopped counting the days going forward and started counting down the days. 20 days left, 19 days left. And once you got to that point, then you could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it didn't seem like you were going to be trapped in that house forever. Which when you're on day 20, you know you've got 99 days in there. That's a long ways down the road. Hey, trust me, I remember sitting there thinking, I'm going to be in this house forever. Not that I wanted to go early, but I remember thinking that quite a bit. All right, what do we have on here? Mark saying, what did you think of today's World Cup games? 4 games tomorrow. Soccer lovers dream. As I said, I always love World Cup. I watch a lot of the games, even the ones that don't involve the U.S. or the U.S. groups. I watched England dominate Iran early this morning, which was good. I love seeing that. It's hard, though, especially with the games on in the afternoon and everything else, because I actually have a real job. I'm still doing it all. So I actually had the afternoon game, which was U.S. versus Wales. I had it set up, worked all the way through lunch so I could get a lot of stuff taken care of. Actually had a meeting right in the middle of the game, so I had to pause the game and do the meeting, and then later after I got done with my work, I could finish it up. Yeah, I love it. What's cool is when you watch the games, all these companies, even the advertisements, so many of them are designed specifically for World Cup. So I like that. I love watching the games because they spend so much time, this time, just like every other World Cup, showing the people in the stands. You hear everyone doing, you know, I like, yeah, doing all the different chants for the different teams, and people dressed up, Americans dressed up as the Statue of Liberty, or dressed up as Bald Eagles or Uncle Sam. People just really have fun dressing up and being part of the game, even just if they're part of the crowd. And that's what I love about soccer. Not that American football, not that American football fans aren't passionate as well, but there's something about soccer. It truly is an international, it's a global sport. It's not just your local team, it's your country's team. It's like the Olympics just for soccer. It just makes it that much more special. So yeah, soccer lover dream. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's gonna be fun. Friday, the United States plays England, so I'm gonna do me some Thanksgiving. I don't know. Maybe I'll wake up on Friday, do a little Black Friday shopping online or something. But I'm getting ready for another football match, and it's gonna be. It better be a good one. All right. So Ma saying, I'll be in college during the next Big Brother. Well, first of all, congratulations. Secondly, it's easy to watch Big Brother 24 hours a day. Do not do that during your first year of college. You better be doing studying, doing homework, because it's yeah, and it's gonna there's gonna be a lot of stuff taking up your time. So take care of business first, and then watch a little Big Brother afterwards. Now, if you're in college, Ma, that means that you're just that much closer to being able to try it and get on a show yourself. You probably have a couple more years, but don't think I'm not going to keep that in mind here in a couple of years, knowing that you're getting closer to the minimum age. It's funny, Survivor. Is Survivor 18? I guess maybe it's 19, but I know Sammy from this season, he's not 21 yet. He's still I think he's still a teenager, which is pretty incredible that you can have that. Big Brother a little bit different. They serve as alcohol, but I just think from not that you don't have emotional stress in Survivor. I know you do, but there's just something about Big Brother. I would worry about dropping the minimum age too much in that game because it does a number on me. It did a number on everyone else in there. I'm kind of okay where it's at. But again, Ma, take care of business. But then here in a few years, I'm gonna be looking for that tryout video from you. All right. Amanda's saying, when do you put up your Christmas tree? It varies from year to year, man. I'm not one of these. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. I know some people decorate before Thanksgiving for family coming over and all that. We don't do that so much yet. Growing up, we actually put our tree up rather late in the year because we were one of these. We like to have our tree up, and then we would leave it up all through the 12 days of Christmas. And then January 6th is the what's that? Epiphany. I can't remember what the name of it, but basically when the wise men show up after 12 days and all. So January, we would keep our tree up at least until January 6th. So normally we wouldn't set up our tree until pretty close to Christmas itself. Nowadays, we do it a little bit more. We've got there's a lot of birthdays for my family in December. A lot of my wife, my daughter. It's our wedding anniversary in December. So there's a lot of things to celebrate in December. So we, my daughter-in-law as well. Brand new. I've got a daughter-in-law and a son-in-law for the first time this particular Christmas. So we got a lot of people we're going to be celebrating with. So yeah, I don't know. We'll set it up first week of December. So once Thanksgiving's done, and you start hearing Mariah Carey, every other song on TV and on commercials is going to be her song, and we'll start seeing the Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on TV and all that. That'll get me that much more in the mood, and we'll put the tree up. And of course, Sharon's already been doing a lot of the shopping and all that. I'll wait. I was gonna say I'll wait till the night before. No more. I take care of business as well. But yeah, we'll put it up here in a couple of weeks. And then it'll start feeling like Christmas. Not that it isn't already. It's cold and it's wet and everything, but yeah, we're getting there. It'll be here before we know it. All right, step for you. We've got time for me. Michelle saying, are you still watching the dog? Can we see them? Well, let's see it. Oakley, Oakley, come here, come here. All right, let me see if I can get it. Come up here. Come here. Can you look at the camera? Look. All right, that may be it for Oakley. Yes, I'm still watching Oakley. We've got her for a few more days. We'll drop her back off with my son and daughter-in-law in on Thanksgiving Day. I guess we'll meet them, see them on Thanksgiving Day, so they'll be picking her up. She's been a lot of fun so far. The only thing she's consumed is a frisbee, a bunch of little bones and snacks and everything, dog stuff. But yeah, she did find a frisbee and make short work of that. This dog, you know what she loves? Frozen carrots. And we got the little treats and everything, the pepperonis and stuff like that. But what she loves, we take the big old carrots, put them in the freezer, and then give them to her. I guess it's like a dog's version of a snow cone or something. And she'll just gnaw on those things as it warms up. Then finally she can get a bite into it and all that. So yeah, we're still watching Oakley. We're having fun with it. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But we'll be ready to turn her back over as well. It's so funny. Every time we walk in the house, or whenever she wants to go outside, she'll go grab one of our shoes, and she doesn't tear it up. She just grabs it, walks over to where you are, and just looks up with the shoe. Because somewhere along the line, she figured out. She knows that if you're putting on your shoes, it's because you're getting ready to go outside. So yeah, she associates shoes with outdoors. So every time she wants to go out, she shows up with my tennis shoe. Fortunately, she hadn't tried that with my boots. We'll have to have a discussion if that happens. But she's shown up with a bunch of different shoes, trying to get me to take her out the door and see what's going on. We have lizards in our backyard, and because I grow avocados and oranges and loofahs and all that, so we've got lizards back there amongst the trees and everything. She loves chasing those lizards. She hadn't really caught many. They're pretty fast lizards, but she's giving it quite the shot. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. All right, see, 7:50. We'll talk for just a little bit more. I did something fun this weekend, guys. I haven't done it in a couple of years, but Sharon and I went Saturday night to the drive-in movie. Yeah, we did it. Actually, we did it for Thanksgiving right after I got out of the Big Brother house. So I guess that was 2019. Coming back from Thanksgiving, traffic was so bad on the interstate. We passed a drive-in theater and said, well, let's just stop and watch a drive-in movie. So we stopped and watched Charlie's Angels Part 2, I think, and Zombieland Part 2, if I recall. And just waited till the traffic lessened up, and it was a whole lot of fun. So we decided to do it again this year. There's a little urban drive-in here in Houston. You watch the movie and you get the background of the city of Houston all in the background. And so we went and watched Wakanda Forever. Yeah, we watched a Marvel movie and watched, it's pretty cool. Had some snacks while we were there. We actually took the dog with us. She sat in the back and wasn't so much into the movie. She's more into the popcorn and some of the snacks that we had with us. But yeah, sat there on a Saturday night. It's kind of cold outside, so we ran the car with a heater the whole time. Had the movie coming in through the FM radio, and yeah, it's just kind of cool. We haven't done that in a while. So if you got a drive-in movie near your part of town where you are, go do it. It rained on us a little bit. We were a little bit worried about that, and I told Sharon, I still remember the very last drive-in movie I ever saw was also when I was a kid with my family. The last one I saw was also the last time it rained on us during the drive-in movie. And I'll never forget, we were watching Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which I think came out in 72 or 74. So it's 50 years ago, 48 years ago. But we went and saw Battle for the Planet of the Apes. My brother, myself, our next door neighbor, a guy named Jeff, who's another of my brothers, basically, and then my dad and Jeff's dad, all went in the station wagon, watched Battle for the Planet of the Apes while it just absolutely poured down rain. We didn't care. We were still watching a drive-in movie and eating as many snacks as we could possibly fit in, and sitting there in our car so we could talk, and no one had any issues and everything. It's funny little things you remember from your childhood. And that's one of the things I remember is going to the drive-in movies. They always had double features back then, and for a long time, my brother and we would always fall asleep by the time the second double feature was playing. I think normally the first one was kind of a PG, a kids type, and then later in the evening, maybe a little more, not crazy adult, but yeah, a little more for the adults. And we always fell asleep. And every morning I'd wake up the next morning, I'd be in bed. And we'd always say, how did we get in bed? I don't know. We were watching a movie and then I woke up in bed. And my dad would always say, oh, the angels carried you. Y'all fell asleep and the angels carried you into the car, from the car into the bed. And here you are. I believe that forever. And I'm not disagreeing. It was angels, just not quite what I pictured at the time. But yeah, I remember a lot of drive-in movies. And then suddenly you had the mall and the inside theaters and the IMAX. And those are all cool, but sometimes it's nice to just get out there and do it old school every once in a while. So that was, I had a blast. I had a lot of fun doing that. And it's a pretty good movie too. There's some Marvel movies that I probably like a little bit better than that one. I love the Iron Man movies. Those maybe are my favorites. The Captain America movies I like as well. There's so many Marvel movies. We're still trying to get caught up, but the Avengers, all those I've enjoyed. We just watched Avengers Endgame, which came out right before I went in the Big Brother house, soon before I went in the house. But we got so far behind on all that, but we finally watched it. I'd give that one a top grade. But Wakanda was pretty good as well. Wow, 754. Mark Taylor saying, in fact, the first drive-in was by the old house in Camden, New Jersey. I can see that. Although, I gotta say, if you're doing drive-in movies, it would seem to me like being further south would not be a bad deal. New Jersey, y'all get a few cold evenings up there, right? Down here, it seems like you've got a lot longer time that you can show drive-in movies without people being miserable outdoors and all that. Now, Houston, we're a little close to the ocean. We have a few too many hurricanes, tropical storms, and all that. I'm not sure how well drive-in movie screens do when the hurricane blows in, but I know growing up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we had them everywhere. And then out in West Texas, they had a few as well. And it was great out in West Texas because there's still a few old theater drive-ins out there. And most of them don't even work anymore, but some of the screens are still up. You'll be driving along, nothing. It is the flattest part of land in parts of West Texas. And all of a sudden, up ahead, you'll see one of two things. You'll either see an oil rig. Well, three things. You'll see an oil rig, you'll see a grain silo, or you'll see an old drive-in movie that probably hadn't run in 20 years, but the screen's still sitting up there. And you drive by and they'll say Pampa Drive-In or something like that. And it just makes you think, how many people sat here decades past and watched movies on those things and had little family outings and all that. So, yeah, it's fun. All right, Cindy's saying, did you ever watch Patch Adams? That's the one with Robin Williams, right? I feel where he's a doctor, I think. I'm pretty sure I watched it, Cindy, but it's been so long ago that I just don't remember many details about it. But if it's the one I'm thinking of, man, Robin Williams, that guy, you talking about a spontaneous comedian. He could just, off the spur of anything, come up with a joke or anything. I hate that the end of his life turned out as tragic as it did with the illness he faced and all that. But man, Robin Williams, what an amazing comedian. I remember watching him when he was Mort from Mort, way back in the day on ABC. But yeah, I think that was Cindy. Oh, you were an all right. Cindy saying she was an extra on Patch Adams. Well, now I've got some incentive to go back and watch that movie with a little more of a fine-tooth comb. It is amazing who I meet having done this show, because Cindy, you do this. I know Angie Hung's been on some shows and all that. And man, I'm just hanging around with some celebrities. That's cool. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. And when I do, give me some. Well, I'm sure I'll recognize you when I see you. That's pretty cool. All right. It's something I didn't know. Well, congratulations. When did Patch Adams come out? That was in the 80s, whatever. Maybe the 90s. Probably dating myself a little bit, but no, that's so neat. We talked about John F. Kennedy earlier. My father was in the trial of Lee Harvey Oswald, which was a fictional movie set up with the idea of what if Jack Ruby had not killed Lee Harvey Oswald, if he had actually gone to trial instead, what kind of arguments would have been made and things like that. And they requested, the city of Dallas or whoever's filming said, we're looking for extras, men who can play people from the 60s and all that. So my dad and his buddy Jay went down and said, yeah, we'd love to be extras. And they said, well, we'd love to have you, but they both had beards. They said, men didn't have beards back when Kennedy was killed. If you're going to do it, you're going to have to shave your beard. They said, yeah, whatever, we'll do it. So my dad was an extra. He played a reporter. So at the very end of the movie, just as Lee Harvey Oswald's getting shot by Jack Ruby, you see my dad holding the camera as a reporter taking a picture. But I thought it was so weird when he came home after filming that because he was clean shaven. It'd probably been 10 years since I'd seen him without a beard. So I was like, oh my gosh, you look so completely different. But yeah, so Cindy, I have a feeling you may have had just a little bit more of a role than my dad did. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Cindy says, I'll message you the scene. Okay, 1990s. All right, so I was a little ahead of when that came out. Yeah, do that, Cindy. I'd love to watch it. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I tried out for the Bad News Bears once. All right, 7:58. We'll shut down real quick. The Bad News Bears Go to Japan was casting in Dallas. I don't know how we found out about it, but we went to try out for the show just because what's the worst? It's kind of like Big Brother. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say, yeah, no, we don't need you. That's kind of what happened on that one. I showed up and they said, yeah, you're a couple of years older than what we need. That's probably a polite way of saying, yeah, we want someone who's an actual actor, not just some kid that showed up. But my brother and I went and at least we can say now we tried out for the Bad News Bears Go to Japan. And when we watched the movie, we were that much more invested in it because we tried out for it, even though we didn't make it. So there you have it. With that, guys, we're going to shut it down. It's 8 o'clock. I hope y'all have a fantastic Thanksgiving. As I said before, if you're frying your turkey, be careful. But y'all have a blast. Friends, family, just enjoy this holiday. World Cup on Friday against England. I'll be watching. I hope y'all are too. But until then, I will be back next Monday for episode number 104. That's amazing. That's 2 years. 52 times 2. That's 2 years straight. So I'll be back next week. Until then, guys. Oh, and then Wednesday, I'll be dropping recaps of both the Survivor and Challenge. So again, if you don't have your notifications turned on, you can turn them on. You'll know when I drop those. But until then, guys, SKD 143. Y'all have a fantastic, happy, wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy everything that comes along with it. And I will see y'all next Monday. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye. Cheers, guys.